All right, guys. Welcome to my first ever episode by myself. This isn't actually going to be part of the actual podcast itself. I'm just going to be making like short videos like this here and there, discussing my beliefs of just the Red Sox personally. I'm not going to really get into the whole Mets and Yankees part of this page, but I will be discussing a lot of Red Sox stuff with this page. Um, as you know, I live in Long Island, New York, so going to see Red Sox games really isn't a big thing I do, I should say. So I'm just going to be discussing a lot of stuff about the Red Sox. And right now, what I want to discuss is the depth chart that I have up here of what I think the first game of the 2022 season, if there is one. As we know, there have been no talks whatsoever uh, between each teams between each sides. There have been no talks. The owners aren't talking to the players aren't talking to the owners, and they say that they don't even want to talk to each other until I think it was March, but I don't remember exactly when. It won't be this month, I know that. There will be no talks about anything in January. So we'll see how that plays into the factor of this 2022 season, which isn't looking like it's not looking like it's going to be good. But like I said, I'm going to talk about a lot of things with the Red Sox. What I'd first like to start off with is this depth chart that we have. I put this together myself just a few moments ago. I want to talk about things that I see wrong with this depth chart and what I would want fixed with this, and see what we can possibly do. My personal opinion is very, very soon we will be seeing a lot of Red Sox players, certain people in the farm system possibly getting called up. I'm personally excited for Jeter Downs. I really hope that he comes up and he can make a splash on the team. I hope he can make a splash on the team. He will probably be playing second base just because he's young. This will be his first season in the majors if he comes up this season, and we still have Xander Bogaerts at shortstop. And Xander Bogaerts is a sticky situation because he's very good at hitting. One of the most underrated players in baseball, I'd say, for like shortstops. Nobody realizes how good of a hitter he really is. He's probably, if not one or two, three top shortstop hitters in baseball. It's just his fielding is so bad that people just put him to the side because, as a shortstop, you'd really want to have good fielding, but he just doesn't have good fielding. So I'm going to start off with first base. Bobby Dalbec. Bobby Dalbec did really good in spring training just before the 2021 season. He did really good, but during the regular season, he wasn't what we saw in spring training. Spring training, he led spring training in home runs, RBIs. He had a good batting average, good on base percentage. He was disciplined at the plate during spring training, but when the regular season came along, it was like he was a shell of the spring training of what we saw, what he was doing. So if I could fix one thing about this Red Sox team, it would not strictly go straight to first base, but first base is an issue that I see being an issue in the 2022 season. Dalbec is not going to be a pristine hitter like we honestly think he could have been. I still think that he could be good enough to start for us at first base, but I'd really, really like it if we can like upgrade that first base position just for the 2022 season and hopefully so on. Second base, Arroyo, he came out of nowhere. Um, we called him up. He was doing great, and he got injured a couple times in the 2021 season. That's why he's a little skeptical. We actually had Kiki Hernandez play a lot of second base, a lot more second base than what we originally wanted him to play because of Arroyo getting hurt. Do I think Arroyo um, isn't going to be good in 2022? I give Arroyo the starting position in second base just because we really don't have anybody else there to play there. That's one. Not saying he's bad, but his hitting is good. His fielding is all right. It's just he's very injury prone. I think he had 3 injuries in this one season alone. So I wouldn't consider him a very reliable second baseman. Xander Bogaerts, I already went over. Great hitter, underrated hitter at shortstop, underrated hitter in baseball, I would say. Not such a good fielder. Very, very limited fielding ability, I should say. It's just not put together for him. He's looking like the later in his career, he's going to move to second base. I really hope at the end of 2022, when he opts out of the contract, I really hope that the Red Sox do re-pick him up and give him whatever contract he wants, because I want Xander Bogaerts to be a Red Sox for life. So he can move to second base. And we'll talk about shortstop when he moves to second base, if something can be done this season and so on. Rafael Devers, his fielding is not good, but it was a lot better than it was in 2020. 2020 was, not such a good year in general. Like a lot of players did good, a lot of teams did good, a lot of players did bad, a lot of teams did bad. We saw the Miami Marlins make the playoffs again, and then you look at them this season, they didn't look like a playoff team. It did look a lot like a really weird season. So a lot of weird things happened. Devers was not good at fielding in 2020. He was good at hitting in 2020, and he was really good at hitting in 2021. 2021 saw his best offensive play in his career. He came up in 2017, I believe. It was either 17 or 18. Came up in one of those 2 years. He really made a name for himself, and since then, he's been that starting third base for us. But that fielding is not where we want it to be. It's not that good level where he could stick around there. So you could move him to first base and take Dalbec out of first base. But that doesn't go along with my plan. So I honestly would be okay with Devers playing third base for the remainder of the 2021 season, 2022 season. The plans that I have and I'm going to talk about keep Devers at third base. It doesn't move him around anyway. Now, Kiki Hernandez splashed off in the playoffs. If we won the championship series, he would have been the playoff MVP. He was so good in the division series. He was good in the American League Championship Series, but the Red Sox in general just kind of like went cold after Game 3. So it was a little weird for Hernandez. He did good in 2021. He wasn't amazing like everybody would hope for him to be. I honestly had bigger aspirations for him in 2021, and what I expected him to do in the playoffs was kind of like what I expected him to do in the regular season. I didn't expect him to be as good in the playoffs as the regular season, but I expected him to be somewhat of a playoff player like he was in the regular season. Not that he ever was with the Dodgers, but the Dodgers and Fenway, 2 different parks. Fenway is a lot smaller than Dodger Stadium. So I thought with that righty swing, hitting it to the monster, I thought he can really use that monster as ability. He knows how to run the bases. So he can get he could turn singles into doubles, he could turn doubles into triples, and he has the pop in the bat to make it over the green monster. So I thought that we were going to see a lot more extra base hits than we got from him. But it's all right. He still will keep the starting nod. For me, I move him to left field just because we got Bradley back. Now, I'm not going to really say that I was happy with the trade, but I'm also not going to say that I was really disappointed with the trade either because of the two players that we did get back for Bradley. I mean, we did throw away Hunter Renfroe, and he was a really good right fielder for us. But I probably would have kept Renfroe instead of trading for those two people and Bradley, just because Bradley's bat is terrible, and the money that he is getting is not worth his just fielding being good and his bat being terrible. It's not. And I really think that the Red Sox need to focus on where they're going to be spending their money, strictly because of the players that I want traded for and I want signed. Now, Bradley is not a good hitter. We all know that. He's never been a good hitter. But his glove has always been great. His arm is amazing. So I keep him in center field just because that's his position. He is the best center fielder, fielding wise. He's one of the best, I should say. Not the best, but one of the best. So keep him in center field. Now, right field, Verdugo. He is more of a center fielder guy. His arm is good, but it's not right field good. He's more of a left center field guy. But Hernandez isn't as good of a fielder as Verdugo, and he doesn't have that good of an arm like Verdugo. So that's why you keep Verdugo in right field. That's going to be a weak spot. That's why Renfroe played right field, because Renfroe's arm was very good. So you had that right field arm that you want. You had that center field who could field well, and then you had that left fielder that could field balls off the monster like you want in Fenway. Now, Hernandez can field balls off the monster. We saw it when he played center field. We saw aspects of Kiki Hernandez's play off center field be good. So that's why moving him to center field, moving him to left field isn't going to be that big of an issue, but it's still the loss in right field of the arm that we would like to have. So in my grade for center field, out of an A, B, C, D, and then an F, I give our outfield between about a B and a C minus. If it really pops off, we could be an A minus. If it goes really bad, we could really be a D. It all depends on how we function as an outfield. Our infield, Dalbec is good at first base. His fielding is good. Arroyo is trustworthy at second base when playing. Not trustworthy at his staying on the field ability, but when he is playing, he's trustworthy. Bogarts' fielding is not really that good, and Devers' fielding is not that good. So in total, but with their offense in total, I give our infield, I'd say our infield is probably a B minus to an A. I give it in between that. I think if our fielding does not improve and everything goes south, it could lean towards more of that C side. But if the fielding improves from Devers especially, and because I'm really betting on Devers having a career season with his hitting and fielding. I really do think that Devers' fielding can get up there just because of how young he is. He's not like a 30-year-old veteran. he's good enough where his fielding can improve, and he's young enough where his fielding can improve. So if you move him, if you keep him at third and let him develop his fielding, he could get better. So in reality, we can see a very, very good fielding team out of this team for the infield. But what I do expect is my grade before, about a B minus to an A. That's where I really put it at. You can see this team be an A plus. You can see this team be a C. You really can. But I don't think that our fielding will be that A plus. I think it would be more like a B plus to an A minus type team for the infield. So we'll see when the season starts. See, my trade and signing acquisitions could really improve this. Whether it's listenable or not, I really do believe that my thoughts could really change this team possibly. Now, with the pitching, Sale 2019 was not that good. We all know that he was dealing with an injury. He was very unlucky, and in 2020 he did not pitch. When he came back in 2021, we saw him pitch 5 games, I believe. It was either 5 or 7 games, and he pitched really well, but those last 2 starts that he had were not the best. I personally believe Sale will bounce back to his original form, his 2018 form, his 2017 form, 16 form. I believe he will be the Chris Sale that we all know him as. The Chris Sale that we traded for. The Chris Sale that we sent great, like 2 good prospects to the White Sox for this pitcher. And he can really be a make or break in this pitching rotation. So I'm gonna give Sale the benefit of the doubt for his injury, for why he was bad in 2019. So I think Sale will be back to his normal form. So Sale back to his normal form. Evaldi's one of those guys that's not going to be really good for you, and he's not going to be really, really bad for you either. It's kind of going to have those in between. And seeing that Evaldi is good against the Yankees really helps us, because we face the Yankees a lot. Obviously, the Yankees are in our division. Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees have the biggest rivalry in sports. So to have a guy that is clutch against the Yankees and can really, really put it to them, I'm happy that we have him. Hill didn't really have the best season. Never really is going to be that amazing pitcher. He's old. I believe he's 41 or 42. He's not going to be that amazing pitcher. I don't think that we're going to get much out of him. I think he's just going to kind of be like one of those inning eaters that people tend to pick up, like, just to have. So don't expect much from Hill. He might get moved to the bullpen. I personally believe he might get moved to the bullpen if he can't eat the innings, and that's when you put Pivetta back into the starting rotation spot, or Waka into the starting rotation spot. It all depends how those people, pan out. Paxton wasn't good with the Yankees. He wasn't. And he had that one game with the Mariners last year, and it didn't go well, and he got injured, and he missed the rest of the season. So Paxton's kind of one of those guys, like, you just bet on, you hope that he's going to do good, but there's about like a 95% chance that he's not going to be good. So we might see Paxton get put to the bullpen, just like we might see Hill get put to the bullpen. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen with Paxton, but he could hold his own and he could make sure that Fenway's rocking with his pitches. I hope that's what happens. I hope Paxton has a career year. Not that I really think he will, but I hope that when we're betting on him, his betting is gonna really, really like help us out. Tanner Houck. Tanner Houck was really good last year. I think that he'll be a lot better this year also. So to have him in that 5 slot, people are gonna think of me like crazy because you have Hill and Paxton in 3 and 4. But I think as the season goes on, Tanner Houck will take that 3 or 4 slot back and he'll be there. It all depends on how Paxton and Hill do. Now, our relief pitching. I'm not really going to talk about a lot of them. I'm just going to really like glimpse through them. But there's really 2 people or 3 people that I really want to talk about. So I'm just going to like brief through some of them. Waka, Hernandez, Brazier, and Sawamura. These 4 guys, I believe, can be really good. But at the same time, I think that they can, really hold the bullpen back. I think Sawamura was good last year. He was definitely better in the beginning of the season than the end of the season. But I still think that he'll be good. Brazier, he came in pretty clutch sometimes. So I'm saying he can help us, but he can also hold us back because he has that history of not being so good. Hernandez, not really much to say about him. He's probably going to hold us back, honestly. And then Waka. Waka was not good last year with the Rays. In 23 games, he started. He had like a 5.6 ERA. I believe he's not going to be that good. He might actually be in the starting rotation rather than Hill or Howe. But this is what I personally would have. If I was the Red Sox, this is what I do with our whole situation. So now the 3 people that I really want to talk about. So Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes was as Red Sox fans would say to Garrett Cole, a sticky situation. Matt Barnes was really good with the sticky stuff, and then when it banned, that's when he kind of fell off. Do I think he needs the sticky stuff to be over the top, that crazy good closer that we saw him as? Yes, I do think he needs that. But can I see Matt Barnes being that high 2, low 3 ERA pitcher, closing games out like it's nothing? Yes, I can, especially without the sticky stuff. So I'm betting on Matt Barnes to be really good next year. Will he probably have a high 3 ERA? Yes. Will he probably have not that many? Will he probably have some games blown? Yeah, he probably will blow a lot of saves next year. But I'm betting on him being good. Pivetta. Pivetta is a guy that you can throw him into the starting rotation as well. If Hill's not performing, if Paxton's not performing, if Houck's not performing, you could throw Pivetta into this rotation, and then you can move one of them out into relief pitching slots because Pivetta is a starting rotation. We got him from Philly, and he pitched all right, but not enough where I'm going to say he's a starting pitcher for us. So I put him in the bullpen. Now, this is the main guy I really want to talk about. He blew all of us away. No one expected him to be good. The Yankees didn't give him a contract and let him walk, and the Red Sox swooped him on up and took him, and he put us on his back for such a long stretch of the season, and that's Whitlock. Whitlock carried our bullpen for a good stretch of the season last year, and I expect him to do the same. Whitlock is probably going to be the main person in this bullpen next year and possibly the following season, next season, and it just so on and so on. I expect Whitlock to be really good, and I expect him to be that pitcher that we saw him last year and even better. That's what I expect out of Whitlock. Um, so we talked about the infield, outfield, the pitching, now catching, and then DH. Catching Vasquez. He's good. He's really good. I do believe he's really good. He had a pretty much down season this year, but I do believe that next year he will, pick it up. So that's really all I have to say about Vasquez. But I personally believe that he will be that top five, top 10 catcher that we saw him be before. JD Martinez, I don't know if it's this year or if it's 2023, but he has the final years of his contract. I don't think he'll be bad. I don't think he'll have a 2020 season, but I also don't think he'll have a 2018 season either. I think he'll probably have a mix of them both. I personally believe that JD Martinez will be good enough to he'll be good enough. He'll have 30 plus home runs. He'll probably have a batting average below 270. He'll have all this stuff. He'll have around 90 to 100 RBIs next season, but he won't be that top DH that we saw him in 2018 be. The 2017-2018 season, like that JD, he will not be that JD. He'll probably be a 2020 mixed with a 2019 JD Martinez. That's what I see him being as. Now, I want to talk about some people that can really, really help this Red Sox team, whether it's on the pitching side or the offensive side. This could really help. Now I'm going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different people that I really would like to see the Red Sox either pick up or trade for. But spoiler, there's only one trade acquisition that I really want the Red Sox to do. I really could care less who else they trade for. I really only want this guy to be traded for if other things don't happen. We'll get into that. So the first person that I want to talk about is Carlos Correa. Now, I think if Xander Bogaerts agrees to moving to second base, we could really see a Carlos Correa and Red Sox unification come in, and we could see Carlos Correa be an amazing shortstop for us. He can hit the ball very well. He can hit it far and hard, and he is the best fielding shortstop in baseball. Just in general, in baseball, he's the best fielding shortstop. He is so good. He just won Platinum Glove, and he's only getting better. He keeps getting better over and over and over again. Every single year, he just keeps getting better. He just had a breakout season for his offense. Now, that's when it gets tricky. I don't want him if he's going to cost $300 or more. So the possibilities of us getting him is very, very slim, but there's a possibility. Now, the trade that I want to only happen, the only trade that I want to happen is Matt Olson. Matt Olson, his defense is really good, so that's even upgrading from the first base slot. And his bat has just gotten even better. It was always the strikeouts and contact that was hurting him, and he's figured this out. He's got his contact, and he's cut down on his strikeouts by a lot. So if we don't sign Carlos Correa and other people, I'd say trade for Matt Olson. Now, my big signing that I want, just because we only got to see a glimpse of him because we traded for him and he was injured at first, it's Kyle Schwarber. I'd really like to see Kyle Schwarber join the Red Sox back. We can put him to first base. We can put him to left field. We can DH him. There's so many things that you could do with Kyle Schwarber, and his bat is amazing. We saw it with the Nationals. And when we traded for him, we saw it with us. He was amazing. He was a killer, and he did not stop. All he did was rake the 2021 season. So that's my number one signing. That's who I want. I want Kyle Schwarber back with the Red Sox. We'll go with the pitching hand. Not really gonna get too much like really into it because I didn't really know a lot about these guys, but enough for me to say they are good enough to join this team. Something where it would be upgrading from other players. And I believe we can use Keona Kella, Ottavino, Hand, and Tepera. Those four guys, I believe, if you take them and put them onto a Red Sox team, they will be upgrading for us. Keona Kella had an injury season last year, so he didn't really show what he could do. But in previous seasons, he's been good. He has a career ERA of below 3, so why not take the shot? And you guys are probably saying, Brad Hand. Why Brad Hand? He was bad with the Blue Jays, bad with the Nationals. Yeah, but you know what? When he joined the Mets, he did good. He was good with the Mets. It was that change in him from the Mets pitching staff that helped him become good. If you take a look at his stats as a Met, they were very good. Adam Ottavino wasn't really that good with us, but he did go a good amount of innings out of the bullpen. He had 63 innings pitched out of the bullpen. So I believe Adam Ottavino is a guy that can help us again. Like, don't get rid of him and keep him in our in our bullpen. Tepera, not really much to say about him. I think he can upgrade. He's one of those guys where like you could be like really banking on him to do good, but he really doesn't cash out. And then he could be one of those guys where you're banking on him and you just triple your money. So I believe that Tepera could be an upgrade from our bullpen, but he's definitely the last guy I go to as a Red Sox scout looking for players. If we don't sign Correa, if we don't trade Olsen, if we don't sign Schwarber, another option we can do is Trevor Story and move Xander to second base again. We all know, I've said this already, Xander Bogaerts isn't the best fielder at shortstop, but his hitting is tremendous. So if we put Trevor Story to shortstop, Trevor Story will have that righty bat, that lefty field in Fenway. He will have the Green Monster. He will have everything that he needs to be a good player. He has the speed. He has the gap in right center field if he hits it there. He's good enough where this Red Sox team can take off if we have him. And then the other two guys, not really much to say about them. Anthony Rizzo, I really was hoping that we were going to trade for him, but then the Yankees got him, and he kind of did. He did all right with the Yankees. I'd say he could have done a lot better as a Yankee, but he did very good with the Yankees. So that's good enough for me to say, if we're not going to trade for Olsen, then let's sign Rizzo off of the free agency market before the Yankees can get him back. Now the second guy is VR. VR is very, 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 what can I say? He's a very good utility man. He can play third, short, second, left, center, right. He probably can play first. So that's just one of those utility guys that we can have on the team, and it can really benefit us a lot. So I just want to know what you guys think. Let me know. Send a message to our Instagram account, Long Island Diamond. Send a message or just comment something in the, comment section down below this video. Do something. Interact with us. Let us know what you think. Let us know if what I'm saying to you makes any sense. And just think about everything that I say. Look at this depth chart that I put up. Tell me if this makes any sense. Let me know if I'm missing anybody off of the market that you'd like signed or traded for. But in reality, there's only the one guy that I'd really like to be traded for, and that's Matt Olson. So it's not that I'm missing anybody. It's just that's the one guy I want. So you guys take a look at this. Let me know if it makes any sense to you guys. I'd say like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you can to interact with us. Get on social media, follow us on Instagram, and that's really much it. I really hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.